Got you guys. Good evening. Good to see everybody here tonight. The regular council meeting of El Portal, the Village of El Portal, for Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021 is called to order at 7:01 p.m. Right now, we'll have a moment of silent meditation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, may I please have roll call, please?
Roll call, Mayor Nickerson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Erbaum. He's through Zoom. Councilperson Perella.
Here.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Councilperson Martin.
Here.
Also present for the record, Janice Jacobia, Village Clerk, Christia Liu through Zoom, Village Manager, and the attorney's running late.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. I appreciate that. I just wanted to point out that the reason why Vice Mayor Erbaum and Manager Liu are through Zoom is because they're both out of town right now. So that's why they're joining us through Zoom. Next, we have approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Motion moved by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Do I have a second for approval of the agenda?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Martin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing no nays. Approval of the minutes. We had 3 sets of minutes to approve, you guys. We had the last council meeting, which was May 25th. I'm going to ask for a motion for those minutes first. May 25th, regular council meeting minutes. Yes. Thank you. I
move approval of the minutes with any scrivener notes being acknowledged as necessary.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I have a motion for all 3 minutes. Do I have a second for all 3 minutes?
I second.
I have a second for all 3 minutes. I'll take those one by one for the ayes. First one is E1, May 25th meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Second one is E2, June 8th, special council meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Third one is E3, minutes for the executive session opening and closing, June 8th, 2021. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing none, thank you very much. Next is good and welfare. If anybody from the audience, anybody from Zoom has anything that they want to say right now at this time, you guys can come up. You have 3 minutes, say your name and address for the record, and you can say what you want to say about this agenda item, about anything on this agenda. We have another good and welfare at the very end where you can talk about anything at all. The first good and welfare is to say anything you want to say about this, any agenda item on this agenda right now. Anybody for good and welfare? We look on Zoom. Seeing none. Moving on to agenda items. The first one is G1, 4th of July celebration discussion. The event is to take place on Saturday, July 3rd, 2021. Vice Mayor Erbaum, the floor is yours.
All right. Good evening. Can everyone hear me okay? Thumbs up.
Very
All right. So, firstly, what shall we call this event? I would propose that we say Village of El Portal, July 3rd in the park. I wouldn't want to call this event a July 4th event. That will be confusing, and people will be looking for the event on the 4th. And of course, it won't be there because the event is taking place July 3rd from 4 to 7 p.m. So, firstly, I think that July 3rd should be in the title of the event. Okay, so the Women's Club is helping out quite a bit with this event. They will be providing ice cream or frozen yogurt free to kids. They may provide it free to adults as well, but at least to kids, they're going to be providing it free. They will need a generator, which the village has, for the small freezer that they use to hold the ice cream. They will be bringing, tents and tables, as many as they have. I anticipate we really only need one tent and one table for them, one tent and one table for the village. And I don't know that we need anything more than that right now. In terms of, do we need chairs? I think that we should advertise this as BYO picnic to encourage people to bring, their own blankets, coolers, supplies, suggestions, projections, or strategies on that projection of how many we do think will attend, because of course that will affect what we're doing. And then in terms of marketing, once we decide on the title of this event, the phrasing of, BYO picnic, essentially the location, and then Women's Club also would like to have their logo as well as the Village of El Portal's logo on any outgoing media. So we have a website, we have email blasts, we do an export post, and so that's essentially the marketing at that point. Whatever other social media we have, which I know is a larger discussion yet to be had. The last item here I have in my notes is activities, essentially for the kids primarily. However, I didn't know if we should say something like sparkler is welcome or something to that effect, or if you don't want to, or if we want to go the other way and say please don't bring any fireworks, right? Additionally, maybe a beanbag toss. My original idea was horseshoes, but maybe beanbags are softer than horseshoes. So if we're providing that activity, there you go. I was thinking just something kind of like that, where it's like an outdoors socially distanced game. I mean, we could even do a little croquet set or something like this for the kids to do, because the nature trail has quite a bit of room to set up an area for there to be an activity. So that is, last item, generator. I mentioned going to power the freezer for the ice cream. That same generator will also power the sound system. We're essentially going to do a Pandora mix over the, like a 4th of July mix over the speaker. So the village has the speaker and the power supply through the generator, and then the generator will also be able to handle powering the freezer for the Women's Club. And then the food is really the last hanging item of what we're going to do in terms of strategy. So having said that, I'll open the floor to anyone who'd like to ask questions or provide comments.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor Urban. Appreciate it. Just wanted to say really quickly, however we decide to market this, we'll go large to, we'll go a long way to depend on how many people we have come out. In the past, when everything was fully open back in the past, pre-COVID, the budget for the 4th of July event was a couple of thousand, over $2,000, because we would provide free, hamburgers and hot dogs to all the residents. And I understand that we're not going that way this time, but I don't know. I don't know how residents are feeling. I don't know, if they're expecting that the way we used to do it and the way we did it for so many years. But if we're going to do it a different way, we just need to really, put that down. The BYOB, we need to really put those things down in the flyers and in the blast that we put out, so that our residents aren't expecting what they used to get, at least for this time around. If we're going to do it like that, and then next year, then we could try, if possible, to move back to what we used to do, because I think a lot of residents really look forward to that. So, but that's just my take on that. Anybody else from the council? No, Vice Mayor Urban, everybody else from the council is good on this. Any last words or anything you want to say?
I believe the manager wanted to say something here.
Yeah, I do. I just want to know what I know we discussed the date at the time, but you may want to put it on the record. So what is the time of the event?
Okay, so the date and time of the Village of El Portal, July 3rd in the park, is July 3rd, 2021, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. And that would be at the Nature Trail in the Village of El Portal, roughly 8701 Northwest 2nd Avenue, 33138.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Yeah, so, okay, so in finality in here, I'd be looking for a motion to direct the manager to advertise the
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll take a motion in a second. I think Clerk Jacoby just mentioned, I think snow cones would be a good idea. I think that'd be a good idea also. You know,
We have-
summertime, so things like snow cones. Clerk
We have a
Jacoby.
vendor, okay, some of the things that we used to do, I'm not saying that bringing it all back, but at least having some kind of normacy back to it is, I think that, we had the snow cone, we had, cotton candy's too sticky and too, like, but I think snow cone would be something refreshing, and I don't think it's that expensive, I think the rental was like $60, something like that, to have throughout. I mean, that's something to think about, that you can also add on to bring on.
Okay,
Mix it in with the
Okay,
ice
so-
creams and stuff. I'm saying mainly for kids, and adults can have that too.
so you're saying it's a machine that you rent for $60?
Yeah, it's a machine. We have the vendor that we've used, which is the same one we used the
Okay.
bounce house and all the snow cones and the cotton candy and all that stuff. So I think it,
Talk to Maribel and see if she wants to add that to
Yeah.
what they're doing.
yeah, because I
Okay.
think a snow cone would be, I mean, that's what we've done before. It works great because it's so hot and it's something refreshing. Something to mix it in for kids who don't want ice cream or don't have ice cream.
Mayor?
It's just a suggestion.
So, yeah, I'll put that to Maribel and see if they want to incorporate that.
Okay.
Thank you. Councilperson Lightfoot Ward.
And in the event that there's inclement weather, any thoughts on that? The item will be, the item will
We
be,
put a rain or shine event on all advertisements, advertised as a rain or shine event.
what? We're gonna have people in the rain? Is it inside or outside?
It's outside. Well, people would make their own decision to come people would make their own decision to come. I mean, if it was a torrential, if it was rained out, you know, that would be, I mean, no one would get out of their car then at that point, and no one would venture out. But the point is that this would not be rescheduled, it's not gonna be redone, it's gonna be that day at that time, rain or shine.
Will we bring it inside?
I don't know if we have the capacity to do that with the current restrictions. If we do, we certainly could, access Village Hall, I suppose, but then does that require, personnel that are not anticipating at the park?
Okay,
Yeah.
Something to think about. all right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. So, Vice Mayor Urban, if you're good with everything, I'll ask for a motion in a second, and then we'll take a vote for the 3rd of July event.
Yes. There you go.
All right. Do I have a motion for the 3rd of July event?
Move.
Moved by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Martin. Roll call, Madam.
Roll call. Councilperson Martin.
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Lightfoot Ward.
Here.
Councilperson Perella.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Urbom.
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. Does anybody else have any comments or questions about the 4th of July event? How are we looking on Zoom? Thumbs up. All right, you guys, let's go on to the resolutions and ordinances. The first one is ordinance H1, Amendment for Development Agreement. This is the second reading, you guys. We've already passed the first reading. Attorney Geller, if you want to read that into the record.
An ordinance of the Village of El Portal, amending ordinances number 2019-08, and the development agreement approved therein, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for conflicts, repealer, severability, codification, and an effective date. This is second reading and a public hearing, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Attorney Geller. Any questions or comments from the council? This is the second reading. We've been over it before. Any questions or comments from anybody on Zoom? How are we looking on Zoom? Thumbs up. Do I have a motion to?
You gotta open the public
Oh,
hearing.
that's right. This is a public hearing. Public hearing open at 7:18 p.m. Anybody from the public have anything they want to say? Any questions or comments about the development agreement? Seeing none. Public hearing closed 7:18 p.m. Do I have a motion to approve ordinance 2020-103?
I thought we did that. Move. I just moved.
Motion moved by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilperson Perrella. Any last question or comments? Anybody from the audience? How we look on Zoom? Thumbs up? Okay, we're good. Madam Clerk, may I please have roll call, please? Madam Clerk, may I please have roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilperson Martin.
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Lightfoot Ward.
Yes.
Councilperson Perrella.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Urbom.
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. The next one is the ordinance H2, you guys. This is the water conservation ordinance for landscape irrigation. This was brought to us by the village manager last time. We passed it through first reading. This is a second reading. We'll have Attorney Geller reading to the record, and I'll have village manager, Manager Lou, I'll have you just say a couple words about what it was about, just so to remind us, and then we'll do that. We'll go from there. Go ahead, Attorney Geller.
An ordinance of the Village of El Portal, Florida, providing for local implementation of the mandatory year-round landscape irrigation conservation measures rule of the South Florida Water Management District, Rule 40E-24 Florida Administrative Code, providing definitions, providing for the applicability of the ordinance, providing the landscape irrigation schedule, providing exceptions to the landscape irrigation schedule, providing for a requirement to operate technology that inhibits or interrupts an irrigation system during periods of sufficient moisture, providing for variances from the specific day of the week limitations, providing for enforcement of the ordinance, providing for penalties for violation of the ordinance, providing for codification of the ordinance, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for conflicts, repeal or severability, codification, and an effective date. Second reading and public hearing, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Attorney Geller. I appreciate that. Manager Lou, do you have anything that you want to quickly say about this? I know you brought this forward in the first reading when we passed first reading.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Yes, I just want to state again, I did this when we had the first reading, that this is South Florida Water Management District's mandatory year-round water restriction. The Village of El Portal is adopting this ordinance and executing this option for our, well, not option, but the requirement for the residents of the village. It is restricted watering or irrigation, not allowed or prohibited between the hours of 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Any day of the week, and even numbered homes, addresses are only allowed to water or irrigate on 2 days a week, pay per odd, but the 2 days a week for the even numbered addresses are Thursday and or Sunday, and the odd addresses Wednesday and or Saturday. So again, no watering between 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. any day, and the even addresses will have Thursday and or Sunday, and the odd addresses have Wednesday and or Saturday.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to, if this passes, we're going to have to definitely get that information out to our residents and reach out to them so that they understand that information. So we have to do our part to move that forward, move that information forward. Do I have any questions or comments from the council?
Yes.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward?
Mr. Mayor, if this is a mandatory annual requirement, do we have to pass an ordinance every year? I don't see anything written in there that says that.
Go ahead, Attorney Geller.
That's why it's an ordinance,
Right.
Councilperson Dr. Lightfoot Ward. We don't have to pass it every year, we just have to pass it this one time. And unless and until it's repealed or amended, it'll continue to control. Now, if the South Florida Water Management District amends their rule, we may need to amend our ordinance to match. But as long as theirs continues in force and effect, by adopting it this way as an ordinance, it'll continue until changed.
Okay, because the reason I'm asking is, this isn't the first time, is it, Mayor, that we've done this before, right? It must have changed significantly. Because
Yeah.
since I've been in the village, I've always known that we have to abide by a certain watering restriction because we are Florida.
Well, they used to do it differently where they would just pass something.
Yeah.
But now they encourage all of the cities to adopt it by ordinance, as a model ordinance. because then the cities have more participation in it. It's not just they have a rule and we have to abide by it.
One last question, Mr. Mayor.
Of course.
Penalties, I take whatever the attorneys gives us in terms of ordinance, I take it for what it is. It says, I know you can be fined, but it's according to the listing currently of violation of any ordinance. Do we have an overall? Because I don't see anything where it shows a penalty when you don't do it. When we're not abiding, notice, we are abiding by the ordinance language.
Mayor.
Yes.
There are penalties provided, but basically what it says is it's punishable as any violation of our municipal code of ordinances is otherwise punishable. So if it was, it's not criminal infraction, so it's not those that the state attorney prosecutes, but basically we can fine people in accordance with our code for violation, the same as breaking the code.
Okay, good enough. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
No problem. Thank you very much, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. And the village manager can tell you guys that they really have been trying to get in contact with, or they've really been getting in contact with us in order for us to pass this ordinance. Manager Alou?
Yes, that is correct. In fact, we are one of the last municipalities to get this ordinance passed. They have 100% statewide, or, in terms of the other municipalities of the South Florida Water Management District umbrella. We just, I know this item had been introduced last year in our code enforcement committee, and in fact, at that time, chairperson, Vice Mayor Urbom had introduced it, and we discussed it, but I think it fell through the cracks, so we really need to move it forward, and I'm happy that you all have allowed it to have the second reading as quickly as you have, so we can keep in line with on the irrigation or this year-round water restriction.
Thank you very much, Manager Alou. I'm going to do that. Thank you very much, Manager Alou. Any last comments or questions from the council?
Yes, if I could.
Yes.
Okay, two things. One, perhaps our Sarah, our web designer, could develop a postcard, pictograph, whatever it is, of how these rules are concerning the even number of houses in the days of the week, the times forbidden. That might be something she could pull off. If not, we should consider somehow accomplishing that where it's something that can be easily distributed in terms of social media, website, et cetera. So, and additionally, if it was, essentially designed as a postcard, then we could mail them as well to each individual household. And then the other thing I was going to say was Section 12 in this document. Section 12 is where it outlines that really we have a responsibility to the codification of this. So incorporating it as an article into the code of ordinances, and then having specific penalties attached to it where it is then enforceable by code enforcement. So so that sounds like would be the next step, as Dr. Ward was saying, and that's it.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor Urbom. Any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'm going to close this for the public at 7:28 p.m. Anybody from the public have anything that they want to say about this, comments or questions? How you looking on Zoom? Thumbs up. I'm going to close to the public at 7:28 p.m. Back to the council. Do I have a motion for the water conservation ordinance for landscape irrigation, second reading?
I'll do the second if somebody will do the motion.
I'll move it.
Moved by Vice Mayor Urbom, second by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Madam Clerk, may I please have roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilperson Martin.
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Lightfoot Ward.
Yes.
Councilperson Perella.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Urbam.
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving on, you guys, the next ordinance is H3. This is the Design Review Board. If you guys remember, because of the new bill that was passed, we had to create a Design Review Board. Attorney Geller, if you want to read that into the record for us, please.
An ordinance of the Village of El Portal creating a design review board, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for conflicts repealer, severability codification, and an effective date.
Thank you very much, Attorney Geller. Appreciate that. Remember, this had to be done by July 1st is when it kicks in, I believe. And so that's the reason why this will be the second reading for this ordinance. Any questions or comments from the council? Hearing none. Going to open it up to the public, 7:29 p.m. Any questions or comments from the public? Are we looking on Zoom? Thumbs up? Okay. Closing to the public, 7:29 p.m. Do I have a motion for ordinance 2021-05,
So moved.
the Design Review Board ordinance, moved by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilperson Perella. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilperson Martin.
Yes.
Councilperson Dr. Lightfoot Ward.
Yes.
Councilperson Perella.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Urbam.
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Next, we're moving on to the resolution, you guys. H4, resolution for the Public Benefits Trust Fund monetary amendment. Attorney Geller, if you would please read that into the record, please.
A resolution of the Village Council of the Village of El Portal, Florida, authorizing the Village of El Portal to approve and accept the transfer of certain funds from the Public Benefits Trust Fund to general revenue for lawful purposes, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date.
Okay, this is a resolution, you guys. It's not an ordinance. For this, does anybody from the council have any questions or comments?
I have a comment.
Yes, Councilperson Martin.
I noticed that there is $150,000 being transferred to the Public Benefits Trust Fund. Some is for police vehicles, which I get, and then it also notes other infrastructure improvements. How much of that $150,000 is going to the other infrastructure improvements?
The police vehicles, one second, the first year payment for the police vehicles is,
It's actually infrastructure related to what attaches this money that's coming from, to the
Yeah.
Cavista development.
which is,
Yeah,
which is
I would just love
impact.
to know the amount. So this is my apprehension on this, or I know that we're supposed to have a meaty discussion, the council is supposed to have a discussion at some point to decide how this money is being divvied up. And what I don't want to do is get caught up in the piecemeal distribution of the funds. That will make it almost impossible for us to make a comprehensive plan based on the total amount that we're receiving. So I just want to get in my mind how much we're spending on what. So if someone could just refresh my mind on what we're spending on the vehicles, and then from that I can deduce how much
The-
we're doing for infrastructure.
Absolutely, Councilperson Martin, absolutely great point. The first year of the police vehicles, the first year will be, total for everything will be $95,212.25.
Okay.
And thereafter is $58,000 annually
Okay, for the police vehicle.
for the police vehicles.
Okay, so then we're doing a little bit above, I guess, that's like $55,000 on infrastructure improvements tied to,
Which in this case is not what the money was actually for. It was mostly for green spaces, and stuff like that. With I don't know if the lawyer has more into what resolution it's being worked on, but it's, I believe it was strictly for, policing, like you were asking, and I agree
yeah, I
with that.
just want to figure out
And
what
Exactly.
infrastructure
What
improvements
improvement
are.
is that it's related to
know.
that money that is gonna be
Maybe the manager can let us know.
I mean, the manager,
All I can tell you is
Okay.
that it must be used, as Councilperson Perella says, for matters that are related to the development. So, for instance, we're trying to do a pump station over by the middle school. That does not qualify. It's got to bear a relationship in the same way that the money from the gas tax that we get has to be used for things related to transportation. It's a legal requirement. But the specifics of what the money beyond the $95,000 for the vehicles, I have to yield to the administration for that information.
Okay.
All, if I can chime in. Well, go ahead, Manager Lou, and then I'll chime in after you.
I was just going to add that, part of the impact of what is happening over at Cavista was also street signage, the sidewalk, it's the things related to what, will assist the, I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Well, we can now.
Manager Lou?
Yeah.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second. We're good? All right, Manager Lou, if you can start from where you were first speaking.
Okay, I was stating that the infrastructure improvements that we would like to utilize any additional funds, I know it's not much, but we were looking to do street signage, safety, that could be lighting, that could also be, the signs that are necessary over in that, in the annex area, to assist with the public safety. So it's, infrastructure in terms of, just street and maintenance and signage.
Okay, and you guys have done the analysis on that and came up with 50,000 being an adequate amount to do that, right?
Not necessarily, no, because this is the thing. This also, because the original one, so let me just say for the record, the original agreement included police, it included street repair, it included other impact things. Then it was changed, some council members that used to be here, it was changed to just say only green space. So what I want to do is take it back to also add the things to where we'll be impacted by these new businesses. So for example, not only, like the police cars, because we don't have, the police fleet is down, but also, you guys, there's things that, because the original agreement said the police department, because of the impact these businesses are gonna have, we have for a long time needed, this is an example, we have for a long time needed, and I probably even shouldn't be saying this on a record, but we've needed a second police officer at nighttime. Like we only have one police officer every night.
So let me say this.
Yeah.
I'm not disputing that those things are needed, and I'm not disputing that it's a worthwhile and a wholly sound, reasonable way to spend the money. I'm saying that the agreement in the beginning was that we would all make a decision on how to spend the money. And sometimes when you get in the need of plugging up holes that rightfully should be filled, you dwindle that pot down so much that it's impossible to make a reasonable, cohesive decision about the usage of the funds that all the villagers will feel in a way that kind of makes sense. It kind of takes away our ability to strategize on it. So for me, if you guys say that you've made the analysis and the $50,000 is right and good, I'm willing to vote on it this time. What I am saying as far as my position is that I will not vote on anything else in a piecemeal form. I just want to get together and kind of strategize as far as if signage is the most important, that's fine, we can do that, but maybe something else is. And I think we should have the ability to do it and see the whole pie. That's all that I'm saying on that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And so when we were talking about piecemeal, so we're looking for a whole. We're looking to do $350,000, right, of the over $1 million. But we didn't want to, because we're getting paid in three payments, and so we didn't want to take all from like the first payment. We wanted to spread it out. But we knew that our police department, first and foremost, needed help. And so we wanted to use the first piece that we took out to help the police department primarily. And so for the $350, we could have said it like, okay, we could take 100 from the first pot, 100 from the second pot, then 150 from the third pot. We just decided to take 150 from the first pot.
It's not about the numbers, it's just about the procedure. From what I
Yeah.
understood, the entire council would have
Click
some
the
sort
blue
of
Add to Chrome
input
button,
on
then
that,
click
so.
Add
I'm just
extension
talking
to
about the
continue.
procedure. I think we have another member that joined. But yeah, I'm just speaking towards the procedure and what I would like to see happen, just going forward. I think it's just a sound way to move forward. I don't know if anyone else agrees, but that's my position.
Yes, and I was very specific of what I wanted with the money as well, and so moving the money from a trust fund to the general account is like opening the door for the money to be spent and other things other than what it was intended for. And so that was one of the conditions I wanted it to be there, that it was any single dollar spent from the money that we actually transferring from these funds being overseen by the council and not just deliberately just spending the money, just,
Yeah, so this money comes out of this public benefits trust fund. In the budget, it goes into its individual line item. All right? It's not going into like the general fund. It's going to go into its individual line item. So everything that we would decide to do with this money, it has to come before the council.
any single amount.
Yeah, we have to come before the same way we did with the police cars, you guys. You see what I'm saying? Like we didn't say we were going to take this money out and then we'll decide just what to do. We passed the police car resolution.
The police car resolution was in the amount of $95,000.
Yes,
right.
This is $150,000. That is different. As far as who came up with the number being sound and good for infrastructure improvements, I do not believe that I had any say in that. Not saying that I should, just saying that that is what we discussed, and that is not how we're moving forward. If we have to be, if we have to look strictly at what it is we said we were going to do, this is a departure today, which I'm willing to depart. If everyone says, hey, 50,000 is a sound good number, I am not willing to depart beyond today. So after today, I would like the meeting that we discussed, where we would talk about the monies that we would be receiving in 3 parts, we understand, and how we would spend them when we do receive those funds. I understand that different events trigger different numbers, so I think we can talk about it in a strategic way and talk about that whole number. That's my suggestion.
So would you like the first number to be the 100,000 for the first pullout instead of the 150? Because then that will cover the 95.
The manager is saying, if I'm correct, that there's $55,000 that's needed to do signage and other things
Absolutely.
that are supposed to go hand in hand with whatever it is that we're doing.
But, I'm sorry,
No,
but
go
this is
ahead.
the
You
first time I'm
you
hearing about
disagree, that's
signage
the floor.
too, yeah. It's not what it was intended for, and I understand, and we should come to the agreement, like Councilwoman Martin saying, and if we can, start, I mean, the $150 can be transferred if the money, we only gonna be using the money to, fulfill the contract with the police cars.
So
Then the other remaining amount could stay there until we decide what we're gonna do, because like I said from the beginning, it was nothing about infrastructure or things that needed to, it was more to fix the problems within that already exist in the village. And, the biggest one being the police. So, yeah. It's either reducing the amount to $100,000, we have time to do everything else, or, the money is there, we all agree to $350,000, so it really doesn't matter. Whether we move $100,000 now or $150, it's just a matter of like how we're gonna spend it and the intentions for, the money to be moved from the trust fund to another account.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward.
yes, I don't intend to stay on this, but I thank Councilwoman Martin has a good thought on this. And to the extent that we can see the money, where it's going, before it's distributed, talk about it, and make sure it's going where we want it to go as opposed to bucket listed out. Now, that takes nothing from the manager. Let me be clear, that takes nothing from the manager. But this is the kind of money that we've not had
Right.
recent in this quantity, and we need to be caretakers. I see the attorney's hand, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, go ahead, Attorney Geller.
What Councilperson Perella stated was my understanding to begin with. What might help ensure that that's the case, if you look at the text of the resolution,
Yes,
where it says to be used for the purchase of police vehicles, that's obviously, you have a number, you know what that is, and the council has voted specifically to do that.
that's right.
The remainder of the sentence says, and also for infrastructure improvements as may be necessary in relation to the new development. If you amend this to add the words at the direction, or you could say, or with the approval, maybe that's clearer, with the approval of the village council, that would clarify that the, I don't know if it's 55 or 54 and change, whatever it is, can only be expended pursuant to the village council's specific approval. So if you wanted to make that abundantly clear, you can just amend this to say, after, again, infrastructure improvements may be necessary, you would add the words, with the approval of the village council. And that would make more clear, perhaps, than the way I wrote it, that 54 or 50, whatever it is, has to be presented to you and the council has to approve it.
Thank you very much, Attorney Geller. Let me just say really quickly, you guys. It was always my understanding that this would be going to a line item in the budget. Anything that comes out of, because this is a special fund, right? So anything that comes out of this would have to go before council, be voted on. Anything that we want to do, we have to discuss it and have to go before council, be voted on. Let me say also that in April 2020, this is what the agreement said. The agreement said, developer intends to make the contribution to the village's public benefits program, including, but not limited to, the maintenance of public parks, open spaces, and civil support spaces, as well as roadway improvements, signage, and the village police. It was changed after that. I didn't vote for that change, but I was outvoted when I was on the council. To take out village police, take out signage, take out roadway improvements, and just go to green spaces. It was changed after that. All I'm doing is trying to bring it back to the original thing, because I feel like we don't have impact fees put in place, but these new businesses and these things are going to provide an impact to our police department, are going to provide an impact to our village, and we need to have a way to be able to fund the things we need in this village so that we're able to do what we can for not only our residents, but all the businesses that are coming in. So all I'm trying to do is bring it back to the original. No, go ahead, Councilman.
And I definitely commend that, and I think that that's a good move. The only thing I'm saying is for us to step back and to kind of bring some, now that we have this money, we could all take a minute, speak to residents, bring our ideas to the table, and figure out a way to utilize this money so that the entire village feels like they have in some way experienced some of the benefit of these funds. And sometimes when you get in the weeds of like your signs and stuff like that, you might lose the opportunity to do something really big and really great for the village. So in my estimation, I think that it would be a sound thing to reduce that amount to 100,000, and then we can discuss have a meeting to discuss how we think is the best way to use the remainder of the money.
So would you like it, changed to 100,000, 100, then 150?
I would, no,
Or-
I'm just speaking to the 100,000 that we're authorizing move tonight. I understand that the police vehicles definitely are an emergent situation, and the 100,000 should suffice, correct, to take care of the 95? Or would that be too little of an amount? I don't know, maybe the manager can let us know.
I don't know if the manager can
Okay.
come.
Well, Mr.
We can do
Mr. Mayor.
125, and 100.
I mean, that's what I'm asking. What do you guys,
Yeah, that's fine.
want to do
Well,
as far
let's
as?
hear from the manager, because I'm on that, I can understand it. We want the police to have what they need. After that, I think that's what Councilwoman Roman is, Martin is
Martin.
talking about.
Absolutely. I hear you guys. I don't know. Like I said, this was going to the budget in a line item in a fund, to where no more money can come out unless the council votes on it. So once it's in there, but we can have like discussion on what it should be spent on. But nothing can come out of it unless we vote on it and it passes through. So regardless of what goes in there and when it goes in there, not one penny can come out if we don't vote for it, the same way we did for the police cars.
I get you.
The
So
same
you're saying it
process.
moves into the fund, but before anything can be expended from that fund,
Exactly.
we have to,
Same thing we did for the police cars.
okay, I think the village attorney would like to speak on that.
Wait, I don't mean to interrupt, but it's not recording right now, so we need to stop the
Oh,
meeting.
okay.
So let's stop the meeting and then reconvene.
We're going to put the meeting in recess. Do I have a motion to put the meeting in recess due to recording issues? Motion. Do I have a second to put the meeting in recess due to
Second.
recording issues? Motion by Councilperson Perrella, second by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Meeting in recess, 7:50 PM.
Don't worry.
Okay.
It
Mayor, I'm
happens.
gonna step into the next room. Call me when we're ready. I gotta do a very quick call here.
Time to get a better one.
He said it has that to add that line to the last, that he's gonna add that to the resolution. You can motion to add that it has to come to council in order for it to be decided.
I think he was gonna say something, but I'm sure he'll come in and we can just ask him.
Yeah, but something has to be added. That's what he took the resolution for. I know, but he said to add that for the peace of mind.
Yeah, for peace of mind.
It still has to come to council. Anything above expenditures above 5,000, right?
And that's always been the rule. It's not a question, it's a statement. It's always been the rule. Anything over 5,000 has to come to council. You were gonna do what? Oh, that's. It wouldn't make a difference to me. It just simply say, well, let's do it right the first time. still have technical difficulty, huh? Oh, okay, okay. Okay. So can I go get an ice cream cone? No, Doc, you cannot get an ice cream cone. Yes, yes, sir.
Mayor, let me just say, if I might.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm calling the council meeting, taking it out of recess, calling it back to order at 7:57 PM. Attorney Geller?
Yes, sir. I was just going to say, Mayor, that the last thing that you had said before we realized we were off is correct. If the money is transferred into general revenue, it can still only be spent for lawful purposes. So even if you transfer the full 150, the only purpose you have authorized so far are the police vehicles. So you don't necessarily need to change the amount. The fact that it'll be in the general revenue account does make it easier to access. But that's why I suggested the amendment to it. If you were to adopt that language, now again, you could certainly, there's nothing that says you can't just reduce the amount. But if you keep the amount but added the language that says, with the approval of council, even if it's a lawful purpose, which of course it has to be, but nonetheless, that would specifically direct what I think was the intention, as it was expressed to me repeatedly by Councilperson Perrella, which is there can be, if it's signage or whatever, all that's required is the manager comes to you and says, I want to spend 10,000 or 40,000 or whatever up to that cap of 150. And if the council says, okay, with the amended language, then it's spent. Absent that, it cannot be. And so, I mean, you can go either route. You certainly could reduce the amount, but then you'd have to go to the issue of transferring it out from the Public Benefits Trust Fund into general revenue, plus approving it. It would be a two-step process. Whereas if you just added the language of that or a similar amendment, it's in general revenue. It can only be spent by law for a lawful purpose, but that language would add the requirement that it takes a vote of approval by council to spend anything beyond the police vehicles you've already approved.
Well, that satisfies me, the second option, to add the language. I
Yeah,
don't know how
and-
everyone else feels about
And I
it.
think that's what we'll do. And let me just say for the record, I think I said this right before we got cut off, that this, like all this money was going into a line item in the budget anyway, to where nothing could be brought out unless it was voted on, just like we did for the police cars. But to put that language in, I think is very important also, even though that was what it's going to be anyway, but we'll put that language in the resolution also. Any other questions or comments from the council?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward.
Thank you so much, because at no time would we want anyone to think that, yeah, the council just can vote anything they so please. That's a protection, and no, we actually thought about it. We gave it a lot of thought, how the process would work, as opposed to every time something comes up, that's it, just spend it. No, thank you so much.
No, absolutely. Thank you very much, Councilperson.
One more thing, not to belabor the point, but I do think that maybe everyone on the council should take some time to speak to residents and just gather up some ideas of how we could best use this money in maybe a new, innovative, impactful ways, and get together and have a meaty discussion about what we are trying to spend, just because it's easier to go to the grocery store when you got a list. You spend less, you're more efficient, all those good things. So hopefully everyone takes the time to do that, and I know that's what I will be doing for the next couple weeks.
Yes, and that was my thing, because of the general expenditure that the village manager's position has, that, no permission or no, up to $5,000, and that was my thing. I don't want not $1,000, not $10,000 being moved or spent from these funds if it's not approved by the council. Yes.
Yeah, again, you guys, this is a special situation, so this would be a special line item in the budget,
Yes.
which would be treated differently. And that's how it was always originally
Perfect.
planned to be, all right? All right, yes, Attorney Gill.
And Mayor, I just want to say again, what the mayor says is accurate. And I just want to reinforce in terms of a couple of the comments. Not only does, again, if somebody moves that amendment, not only does it accomplish Councilperson Perella's, not just tonight, but stated purpose repeatedly, not $1,000 of this money can be spent. The mayor describes it accurately when he says this is a special line item because it's not unrestricted
There you go.
general revenue. It is restricted. So in terms of, thinking about things outside the box, you can think about anything outside the box. But remember, any expenditure from this separate line item must be related to the development and its impact on the village. And as to your point, Councilperson, when you say not just at the whim of the village council, these are restricted dollars.
Very good.
They can only be spent for the purposes that are outlined in the ordinance, and even after transfer, they can only be spent for things related to the impact of the improvements. That's the case, as the mayor says already, but if you amend it to add that, you also ensure that not only does it have to comply with the law and have an impact, but it is also subject, as to all of it, to specific approval of the council.
Thank you very much, Attorney Geller, appreciate it. Anybody else from the council, any questions or comments further from the council? Hearing none. How are we looking on Zoom? Anybody from the audience? We're good? Thumbs up. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution for the Public Benefits Trust Fund monetary amendment with the additional language that will be added for it to come before council for everything spent?
So move.
You got it. You got it.
Who moved?
Second.
Who moved it first?
Pere-
Councilperson Martin, did you say so moved? Oh,
Perella.
it was
Perella,
Councilperson Perella was motioned. It was second by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Sorry about that. It's hard to know who's saying what. I don't
For the
have eyes.
record,
If you could read it
Um,
for the record.
In that an amendment is discussed, it's really not required that you take a separate vote on the amendment itself. If since Councilperson Perella, in essence, is offering that amendment,
And he moved it.
normally you take a separate vote, but if every member of the council is agreeing to the amendment, you can just say the amendment language, which I read into the record, is incorporated by unanimous agreement, and you can move right to your vote on the resolution with that unanimously agreed to amendment.
The amendment is unanimously agreed to. First motion by Councilperson Perella, who introduced the amendment. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call, please?
Who was the second?
Second was Councilperson Lightfoot.
Councilperson Martin,
Yes.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward,
Here.
Councilperson Perella,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Urbam,
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you very much, you guys. Appreciate that. Long time coming, very important for the village and our future. Next is the reports, you guys. First is the village manager report. Madam Manager, you did email your report out.
Yes,
I don't know if you wanted to go over, just hit a couple things on it.
no, I'm gonna hit two things, and I'm gonna, just, defer to, I'll let you just take a look at it and, contact me if you have any questions. It's also placed on the village website, for resident review as well. But I will touch on two things. One is the, El Patel top lot fence. We are begging the contractor to please come and install. They did install a portion of the fence on the backside, but have not completed the fabrication of the front part. We are still awaiting, we call every single day. I've got so many, questions and concerns, and I, echo those questions too. It's taken so long, but I understand that, and this is what we've been told by the contractor, that material is scarce and that it has to be fabricated. We did pay a deposit, so we are in it and waiting for this to be done. I've got that person from with me, and we contacted the contractor, and he said, oh, it's all ready. That when we got the material, it was only a piece for that part of the fence. So I, just ask for patience and just know that we are calling daily, trying to get this contractor to move on getting that, either a temporary piece in or a permanent piece in, and, they keep telling us they're working on it, but when they answer, and most days they don't answer. We're gonna keep pushing and, moving forward. We may have to entertain, another fencing company, but they made the fence in the first place, so they are the ones who are, doing the repairs. I appreciate your concerns, I understand them, but I don't want the clock to waste another moment, longer than it needs to be, but I cannot open it until that it's repaired. So that is the status of the clock line. I also wanted to just, touch on the fact that we are in hurricane season, and the village of El Patel Vice Mayor and emergency management team hosted a hurricane preparedness town hall on June 12th, and it's been recorded and placed on the village website. It's chock full of information, really good stuff, so I hope that, those who are able to join us on this town hall will review the meeting. I think it was just under an hour long, so it won't take up much time, but it will give you a lot of helpful information that can assist you in any emergency situation. Also, note that we are about ready for our tree trimming and our scheduled annual maintenance of our storm drains, and management team will be hosting a Citizens Crime Watch Block Captain Emergency Readiness Training the first week of July. The Elton Health Police Department has secured our investigator response equipment and materials in the event there is a hurricane, and I have updated and trained staff on the internal response that's needed for municipal operations. I'm going to, those are the only two I really wanted to touch on, but please take a look at the report. Staff is working as hard as ever in delivering service. We're making some improvements in our building department. We're very excited about that, and we hope that service can be enhanced, and our residents will be happy, as well as our towns. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Madam Manager. I appreciate that. As you guys always know, myself and the manager, our reports are usually so similar, so I'm going to pick out a couple of things and make it very, very quick. The first thing I do want to say, though, is I don't know if Councilperson Martin wants to say anything about Juneteenth, but we appreciate this. For the first time ever, the Juneteenth celebrations were all around the county, all around the nation. Thank you very much for bringing that to us. If you want to say anything about that, you can.
No, I think you summed it up. I thought we got some great feedback on it and looking forward to scaling it up next year.
Thank you very much, Councilperson Martin. We really appreciate that. The manager went on a Native American historical review through Sherwood Forest, just to look at, and I don't know, manager, you want to speak on that really quickly, just to look at how the land of Sherwood Forest should be treated. There's artifacts there in the land that go back thousands of years, and so we had an archaeologist come and he did a review of Sherwood Forest for the Native American history and the artifacts and the land and what's under the land that's there. Madam Manager, if you want to quickly touch on that?
Yes, absolutely. That is a key point, and it's placed on the website. All of Sherwood Forest is designated an archaeological zone, and with that zoning means the county is required to review plans before any So that is the key. I've spoken with the vice mayor about doing a public information, as well as, Councilperson Correll about doing public information, meetings, with the residents and doing some kind of outreach so residents are aware that, those homes are, on archaeologically zoned, land, and digging and renovations are, to be monitored, very carefully. Also, the Tequesta, burial mound is, to undergo a renovation. As you all know, we've been, discussing the, renovations of all 5 parks, and so there's so many parks. Each park has, its own special need that I'm doing research into. The Tequesta burial mound is, another key, archaeological, property that we have to, be very careful when renovating. No digging, no planting of anything, and no disturbance of those lands, because, there are bones, pottery, all kinds of artifacts just just one level down. If you dig, you will definitely, touch on some things. So we, don't want to disturb anything, and we want to stay, we want to preserve our rich, history in Sherwood Forest.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Madam Manager. I'm going to sum this up, you guys, but I quickly do want to say that I was, I was lucky and I was honored to attend the very first LGBTQ flag raising event by Mayor Levine Cava. It was only 4 elected officials there. I was, honored to be invited. It was Mayor Levine Cava, Commissioner Gilbert, who's the, City Commission Vice Chair, Commissioner Pepe Diaz, who was the City Commission Chair, and myself. And we were the only 4 elected officials there. And so this is the first time that the Pride flag had ever been raised in Miami-Dade County. And so I was honored to be a part of that. And thank you for Mayor Levine Cava for inviting me out to that. We had a Crime Watch meeting also. That was June the 2nd. And we had a Crime Watch meeting also that evening. Crime Watch continues to go on. You guys heard the manager speak about it a little bit earlier before. At the very last minute, the manager and I were invited to Horace Mann's 8th grade graduation. And so we attended that. We got there, like I said, it was last minute. We got there like a little bit late, but we were there right on time, it seemed, when everything was starting to kind of pick up. And that was the 8th grade graduation. That was on June 4th. And next month, I will have a couple of Horace Mann students come to Village Hall to receive awards. They're 2 most outstanding students of the year, 2 most outstanding 8th graders of the year. So that will be happening next month. We did, on June 5th, have the Little River cleanup. That's a big event. It's an annual event that we always do. So thank you very much to the Little River Conservancy, Adam Old, Kristen McLean, Hugh Gladwin. Thank you very much to the Women's Club. Thank you very much to the SNR Task Force, Sustainability and Resiliency Task Force, Chairperson Carpenter, Vice Chair Maribel Fruitstone, who's also the president of the Women's Club. We appreciate that. And the Little River cleanup, they said that it was cleaner than it had ever been. So we really went through it, really got to it, and this year after year of cleaning the river is really making a difference in improving our environment here in El Portal. So we really appreciate that event. That's pretty much it, you guys. I do want to say rest in peace to former State Senator Daphne Campbell's son. I did attend that meeting on behalf of, I did attend that funeral on behalf of El Portal. It was a very sad funeral to see what happened with her son, you guys. That's pretty much it. Everything else, we can kind of just keep away, you guys, right now, just because the rest of my report is basically more or less what's in the manager's report, because we attended all other meetings the same. Attorney Geller.
Just one item, I want to report back to the council, and I'll put this on the record. We have a tentative agreement with the PBA. The matter will now be submitted by the PBA to its membership for ratification. At one point, we were hoping that they would be able to get that done in time for us to bring the final agreement to this meeting tonight, but their counsel is away, and he wanted to be personally present, Mr. Coyle, to help with the presentation and ratification vote. He'll be back, I think, in another few days. He's going to present it to the unit. If they ratify it, it will be before us at whatever our next meeting is. I presume that's the regular July meeting, but, perhaps there'll be some reason that we'll be meeting sooner than that. But presuming that they ratify it, we'll bring it here for final approval. They have the first step. We don't vote until they have their ratification vote. But we do have a tentative agreement between our bargaining team and their bargaining team. And as I said, they'll present it to the membership of the PBA bargaining unit for ratification. And presuming they do so, we will bring it before you. I think you're familiar with the general outlines of what we've discussed. And hopefully we will have a final approval sooner than later. I did want to put that on the record so you know, A, that it was accomplished as we discussed, and B, so you understand why it was not in front of us tonight, just a matter of vacation schedules. So with that said, I'm happy to answer any questions on that or anything else, but that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Attorney Geller. Really appreciate it. Before I move to good and welfare, I just want to say one last thing, you guys. I'd be remiss. I just want to thank the chief. I was able to, this past weekend, go to a Pan-Asian Father's Day celebration. I don't know if you guys know, but, you know, I did my schooling overseas in the Middle East and in Asia. And, you know, I've been into, you know, China many, many times and lived over there for a while also. And I was lucky enough and honored enough to be able to go to this Pan-Asian celebration because they were rewarding Officer V. Officer V got recognized and he was honored there, and I was able to go there and speak for Officer V on his behalf at this Pan-Asian celebration. So if you guys see Officer V, congratulate him. It was a nice event, and I was really honored to be asked to be there to speak on his behalf. So spoke some Mandarin too while I was there, but it was a good thing, you guys. So really appreciate that. That being said, I was going to move on to good and welfare. Council, you guys good? Have any questions for Attorney Geller? You guys all right? All right, very, very good. Appreciate that. As I move to good and welfare, before I move to good and welfare, we do have a birthday.
Well, they Well, sing
As
it.
we do this,
Happy
happy birthday
birthday
to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Councilperson Perella. Happy birthday to you. So we appreciate Councilperson Perella. Happy birthday, my brother. Make a good wish, blow it, and let it. Well, I guess you got to let it kind of go out. You can't really blow it.
No blowing.
Make a wish.
Make a wish.
As it goes down, make the wish.
And it's done.
I always buy those. I think it's best. I don't like
There you
doing
go.
cakes,
Thank
even
you,
before COVID.
There you go, Vice Mayor Erbaum. Vice Mayor Erbaum, Clerk Jacoby brought the sparklers that we're going to be allowing at 3rd of July.
We'll get more.
There you go. We'll get more. We appreciate that.
It's lovely.
Very happy birthday, Councilperson Perella. We appreciate you being here with us. Thank you very, very much. Moving on, you guys, good and welfare. Is there anybody from the audience that has anything that they want to say right now? It could be about anything at all. Or you just say your name and address for the record, 3 minutes. Seeing none, we're moving on to motion to adjourn. Any last questions or comments from the council before I ask for a motion to adjourn?
No?
You guys good? Can I have a motion to adjourn the council meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Councilperson Martin, second by
Perella.
Councilperson Perella. The regular council meeting for Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021
Is a record breaker.
is adjourned at 8:21 p.m. Thank you
You can
very
take
much.
that cake
Because
home.
it's your
You can take
birthday.
that cake home. There's cupcakes for everybody else.
Very important meeting.